Current Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Russell Wilson is being rumored to be ready to sit and join the Las Vegas Raiders as his next stop as an NFL starting quarterback. But first, before I get more into that, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news and updates. Also like this video. Now, let's get right back into it. So, recently, the Las Vegas Raiders just signed former Seattle Seahawks head coach Pete Carroll, and who was also the starting quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks during his tenure as head coach. Well, that would be Russell Wilson. And who's looking for a starting quarterback gig this offseason? It's quarterback Russell Wilson. And who needs a starting quarterback? Well, that's the Las Vegas Raiders. So now you can see why Wilson has been linked to the Raiders in free agency as a potential pickup, even before head coach Pete Carroll took the job. So when you look at Russell Wilson, he is set to become a free agent at the end of the season, and that means that he's going to be available to sign with any team he wants. And will the Pittsburgh Steelers re-sign him? Well, that's a possibility. But will another team sign him? When looking across the league at another team that needs a starting quarterback, the Raiders are one of them. There's some other teams, but when you look at the situation, that's probably not the direction they're going to go. So when you look at the Raiders, however, that's the direction that they need to go, other than maybe the fact that they may draft a quarterback like Sanders in the draft or something like that. But if they don't, and they decide to go free agency or have someone start over the rookie, Russell Wilson would be the caliber of player that would be headed in that direction. Because when you look at the Raiders, they need a veteran. They need someone who could have some stability in their organization. They haven't been a good team for a while now, and they just haven't had that stability at the quarterback spot. It may not be for a long time. It may be for a one-year thing, but Russell Wilson, he could give that to the Raiders. And the Steelers, they may be looking in a different direction as well, because the Steelers' whole plan this season was to see how far Russell Wilson could take them, to see if Russell Wilson can lead them to a Super Bowl. Well, they figured that out. They gave him all the chances he needed. They gave him the starting quarterback job even after Justin Fields went 4-2, after Justin Fields was looking good. They gave it to Russell Wilson to say, hey, you're the veteran. You've won a Super Bowl in your past. Let's see what you could do with this roster. And what did he do? Well, they lost 5-0 to end the season and lost in the first round of the playoffs. So they've seen what Russell Wilson could do at the quarterback job. So why would the Steelers give Russell Wilson another chance to be the starting quarterback with the same roster? It just doesn't make sense. They're more likely going to go in a different direction, or at least they should. Meaning that the Raiders, they may give the opportunity to Russell Wilson to come in to help a rookie out, or just to give some stability on their roster. And when looking at Russell Wilson with the Seattle Seahawks, would he be a good fit for them? Well, besides the fact that they need a quarterback, looking at some top insiders or just ESPN NFL Network, what they had to say about Russell Wilson playing for the Raiders, it's actually a real consideration. When looking at Tom Pelissero, one of the top people for NFL Network, he says, from looking into the situation, there's really not going to be any market for Russell Wilson than a few teams. And one of those teams is the Raiders, because they need a quarterback and because of head coach Pete Carroll. That's his words. That's what he said. And now looking at ESPN, because ESPN said there's a buzz going around about the Raiders and Russell Wilson, and how Russell Wilson always wanted to wear the black and silver. So when looking at the comments made by ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, he said, I reached out to a few former Carroll lieutenants in Seattle. Both expect Carroll to be great fit in Las Vegas, but they also pointed out that they would not be surprised if Carroll reached out to Russell Wilson, possibly trying to sign the free agent and make amends for what went wrong at the end of the Seattle era. End quote. He also said later on that one of them even pointed out that Carroll and Wilson began to rekindle the relationship about a year ago or so. Wilson always been intrigued by wearing black and silver. End quote. So when looking at the top insiders, they're basically saying that Russell Wilson wants to play for the Raiders and that Pete Carroll would want Russell Wilson to play for the Raiders as well. And these are insiders giving their reports on the situation. So they have insider knowledge and they're looking into the situation. And just like the one guy said, He has some sources that are telling him this from this former Seattle Seahawks coaches that were with Pete Carroll. So when you look at what that means to rekindle a relationship, it really doesn't mean much because on the Pat McAfee show, Russell Wilson spoke highly of Pete Carroll, and this was just earlier in the week. He said, and I quote, "I think Pete's an amazing football coach, an amazing individual. I've been fortunate to play for two really special head coaches in terms of men and how they think and process the game. Obviously in Coach Pete Carroll and obviously Coach Mike Tomlin. Really unique individuals and how they lead and motivate. I think they're culture builders. I think Pete will do a great job wherever he goes," which is obviously the Raiders. So looking at that quote, end quote by the way. So looking at that quote, obviously you've seen say rekindle relationship. That probably just means the way that Russell Wilson left the Seattle Seahawks, not really the relationship that they had as them two individually. So obviously Russell Wilson, he believes that Pete Carroll is a great head coach, and per sources, he wants to play for the Raiders. So that would be the perfect scenario for both those guys. They meet each other up in the Raiders and they join back forces just like they were with the Seattle Seahawks many years ago. So when looking at, is it too early to say that Russell Wilson will join the Seahawks? Well, Pete Carroll, he was actually asked in an interview about Russell Wilson. Would he want Russell Wilson on the team? And he said this: "It's so early and we're just in the mindset of trying to find the puzzle pieces, not even putting them together yet. So I can't even say. Free agency hasn't come yet." End quote. So you could take that quote and be like, hey, he's not really giving no direction of would the Raiders want Russell Wilson and will they sign him. He's really giving no indication that they would. Well, at the same time, you can't say that yet. You can't say, yes, we're going to be interested in Russell Wilson, because as of right now, he's not a free agent. He's still with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you can't kind of interfere in that front. Once he officially becomes a free agent, then you could talk freely and willing about him. But as of right now, you can't. So that quote, it gives some direction that, hey, he's not shutting it down completely, but also you can't really give indication that you would sign him because he's not a free agent. Anyway, those are the end of the quotes. But will Russell Wilson join forces with the Raiders and Pete Carroll? That's yet to be seen, and we're going to have to wait on that. Hopefully he does. As a Steelers fan, I would want to see Russell Wilson go to the Raiders. I would want to see the Steelers go in a different direction and pick up a different quarterback, or maybe stick with Justin Fields. I've been wanting Justin Fields to be the starting quarterback over Russell Wilson basically the entire season. I want them to stick it out with Justin Fields. So hopefully they go that direction or go a different direction at quarterback. Russell Wilson, we've seen what he could do. He's not that good of a quarterback anymore. He's the baseline of a quarterback of what you need. Yes, he can make the right throws, but he's not going to do anything spectacular or going to build upon what he did last season. It's either going to be the same thing or it's going to be worse. He's not going to get any better at this stage of his career. He's just leveling it out and playing until he reaches the final stages of his career. So another quarterback like Justin Fields, he could build upon what he's doing, or another younger quarterback could build upon what he's doing. We've seen Justin Fields go from playing like a bad quarterback in Chicago to playing like a great quarterback, and then coming to Steelers and playing even better. So we've seen him grow and grow and grow. So you can't stunt his growth anymore. If you're going to go that direction, go that direction with Justin Fields. If you're going to go a different direction with a rookie quarterback or whoever and bring in a different quarterback, then go to that direction. Enough with Russell Wilson. Let him go. Let him go to the Raiders, work with Pete Carroll, do whatever he has to do there, and move on. That's my thoughts. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Would you want Russell Wilson to return to the Steelers, or do you think the Raiders should sign him? And do you think he wants to play with Pete Carroll? And do you think that's the team that he could go to if it's not the Steelers? And who do you want the Steelers to get at quarterback if it's not Russell Wilson? Do you want Justin Fields or a different quarterback? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And also, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news, updates, highlights, analysis, reports, everything surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers this offseason, whether it be rumors, whether it be insiders giving some information, whether it be just anything covering the Senior Bowl, anything like that, the draft, free agency, I'm covering it all. Just because the season is over doesn't mean I'm stopping covering the Pittsburgh Steelers. So if you want to stay tuned to everything Steelers this offseason, even when training camp rolls along with highlights, mini camp, everything like that, this is a spot for you. So, with that being said, like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on notifications for this channel. And until the next video, I'll see you guys all later. I'm out. Peace.